My name is Brian Albert. I'm a developer at Drifty. We made the Ionic framework. I work on the cloud side, which is sort of the services that we've been working on. They're actually coming out this month. But I'm actually not here to talk about Ionic today. If you have questions or whatever, feel free to grab me after. I've got some stickers and pens and stuff too. So today I'm here to talk about Angular Universal. For those of you who aren't familiar, Angular Universal is built off of a technology called server rendering. What this is you kind of have, well, let's take a step back actually. Typical web page when you're loading, this is kind of what it looks like. It takes about 3 to 7 seconds. You've got your server response, you're downloading assets. If you've got a big Angular or React app, you've got a client downloading all that. Finally, you're rendering to the DOM, at which point you've had quite a bit of time pass. With server rendering, what you're doing instead is your server is sending over a template that can be rendered immediately. It's just some HTML and CSS basically, so it can be loaded really fast. After that, the server and the client continue to talk and load the rest of the assets, like if you have a JavaScript library or anything like that, and then it kind of takes over from there. So with Angular 2, what they've done is actually built in the ability to have server rendering. This wasn't possible in Angular 1 because Angular 1 is too strictly tied to the DOM. One last point. The other nice thing about this sort of technology is if you have really slow page loads, like I think in San Francisco there's a base latency of 72 ms, it gives your users something to look at before your app's even loaded. So, kind of nice. There's some other advantages to doing server-side rendering as well. All this stuff here at the top is server-side rendered content. The way this is working is Google is indexing these pages and actually just like holding on to all this HTML, this little CSS and all that, and that's why it's able to display an actual like full little content pane and everything like that. That's powered by server-side rendering, probably an older framework, not the one we're talking about now. The point I'm making though is that with this, you're going to get much better search engine optimization. Google is the only search engine that really even does a very good job of indexing client-side apps. And it's still kind of new. So if you're wanting to be up there on any of the other search engines, you're probably going to want to do some server-side rendering. Another great use case is link previews with Pokemon Go. So the ability to post a link to Facebook like this, and you're probably familiar with your friends posting stuff, and you see like sort of a preview window of what that web page looks like, or with an image and this kind of thing. Again, that's server-side rendering, where Facebook is able to take that link, ask the server like for a preview what the template looks like, and show it here in your feed. Lastly, in that really weird case where you have clients who for some reason have JavaScript turned off, like a really evil IT person or something, you'll at least have something still on the page. So, kind of useful. Again, that person's really evil. So, now we come to Angular Universal. Server-side rendering is not a new concept. This is just something that's new to Angular. And it's powered by a few different things. First of all, Angular 2, TypeScript. So we're dealing with a lot of new technologies here. It's powered by either Node and Express or Happy, or ASP.NET, and then in the future it'll be running Java, PHP, or Python. So just to summarize, with server-side rendering, you're building a client and backend sort of full-stack solution. Angular 2 is a major requirement. Like you're always going to have that with this, and TypeScript. This is not, again, this will not work with Angular 1. And then you kind of have a choice with your backend right now of either Node or ASP.NET. In the future, you can use one of these. The way it works is, it's actually not too complicated. So I actually have this kind of diagram over here I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to. But I'm going to kind of go back and forth. So first we send and my drawing skills, this is literally a Google Draw, by the way. I'm not a designer. We send a request to our server. Our server is going to come back with a string of just HTML and CSS and maybe a little bit of JavaScript. And that's this JSON renderer. It's building an HTML string instead of using the DOM renderer that regular Angular would use. It then contains what's called preboot, which is a little library that the Angular Universal team wrote. What that does is it begins to record the user's actions. So when we get this page, we are going to have, maybe buttons, content, forms, and you're probably wondering, well, if we don't have a real app there, all we have is some template, how's that going to work? Preboot sits there and records every single thing the user is doing while the rest of the application is loading. So we're here and then here. So while this is happening, the rest of the application is loading asynchronously. When it's finished, we then bootstrap the application, and this is kind of the tricky part. So there is a hidden div, and the actual client view is then being rendered to that hidden div and kind of controlled by preboot. Now the reason we do that is any of those actions the user takes during that weird little middle time, that hidden div is then being changed and manipulated like a client-side app normally would. So after that, we're going to fire up all of these events so that our hidden div is how it should look. And then we just switch the context, where we're showing now a hidden div that had any user, like maybe typing in something into a form or pushing a button or whatever. The screen looks as it should have. And the user isn't aware of any of this happening. It's very quick, very manageable. So again, just going back a little bit here. The last thing that kind of makes this work is they have just an npm module as well as an ASP.NET module that allows us to serve up these HTML content strings. So it's actually nothing bad. Any questions there? Because that's, well. To get started with it, it's actually pretty straightforward. You write your Angular app like normal. The only thing is you don't directly touch the DOM. So you wouldn't use document, get element, or the window object or anything like that. There's a special module you use instead. I'll show you in a sec. You use the Angular render, the special module I'm talking about. And then after that, you just have to configure a node module or an ASP module. So what I was talking about with the difference. So you see here, this is your typical document get element by ID. Instead, you would be using render like this. Fairly straightforward. This would not work. It would break. So let me just show you a very fast demo. And this is really small. The Angular Seed app, this is actually like a pre-built little starter kit kind of thing. And all I'm going to do is refresh this page. Reopen it. And show you one quick little thing. So if we go into our requests here, the first thing we see is there's only one thing coming in first. And that is that little HTML string that I was talking about. It has everything we need, CSS, the page that we were just showing, this is big data for server, all this stuff. Everything that page is showing, but we haven't actually gotten our client yet. That's up here, index.js, and that's all our entire massive client. So what's nice here is we've already got this great little view, and that we can go ahead and immediately render the page. User isn't aware of the fact that we haven't actually loaded the whole thing, and we're still loading over that client, over the wire wall as it's happening. And then lastly, we've got, it's very tiny, but we've got our server request coming in about 500 milliseconds after that. Here's some of those links. I'll come back to this in a minute. I just wanted to show you a few things here. Angular Universal repo, the starter kit that I was just working with, some videos I definitely suggest checking out, my GitHub, and then there's a few FAQs I wanted to cover here, because I'm sure there might be a few questions. Service workers and web workers, support for that is coming with this in release candidate 2. For getting started, as I was mentioning earlier, the best place to get started is that Seed app. It's actually made by the same team, and it's configured for Webpack and System.js. And as soon as Webpack 2 is stable, they'll update it for that. And then you'll be able to do things like tree shaking, where you can remove Angular modules that you don't actually need from your prepackaged library. Yeah, that's it.